Okay, let's talk about the past. What if you could actually change your relationship with it? I'm not talking about changing what happened, but fundamentally changing its power over you. We're going to dive into this really powerful idea that does just that. It's a total reframe on healing and, the stories we tell ourselves.
So this quote right here, it's kind of the whole key to what we're talking about today. You repeat what you don't repair. Think about that for a second. It basically means that all those patterns you feel stuck in, they're not random. Not at all. They're actually echoes of things from our past that we haven't quite dealt with yet.
I mean, does that sound familiar to you at all? Have you ever felt like you're just stuck in the same negative loop? Maybe it's that one argument you keep having, or a habit that you know is holding you back, but you just can't shake it. Or even just that feeling of dread that pops up, but it always feels the same no matter what's going on. That's the repetition we're talking about. So the big question is, why? Why does this happen?
Well, there's actually a name for this whole thing. It's called the contamination story. And wow, is that a powerful name? This is the story we tell ourselves, the one that keeps us stuck, that keeps us chained to those cycles. It's the story that whispers in our ear that we're somehow permanently broken.
And here's the thing. A contamination story isn't just a bad memory. It's way more than that. It's a conclusion you've made about who you are. It's that little voice inside that says, because that happened, I'm broken. Or, my shot at being happy? Yeah, that's gone. You see how it works? It literally contaminates everything that comes after.
So this really puts you at a crossroads, right? There are two paths you can take. On one side, you're a slave to the past. The contamination story is running the show. Your past basically dictates your future, and it feels like your future is just canceled. But then there's this other path. And on this path, you become the author of your future. The focus isn't on trying to erase the pain, but on being present with it. It's a total shift from being a victim of your story to being the one who writes it.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we make that jump from being a slave to the past to being the author of the future? Well, it all starts with one surprisingly simple but totally radical first step. It's a new command you have to give yourself.
And that command is just one word: stop. Seriously, just stop. Stop running away from the pain. Stop hitting replay on that story that tells you you're broken. This is the moment. This is where you interrupt that cycle and make a choice to finally face it, instead of just repeating it over and over again.
And this right here, this is the big reframe. Most of us think healing means getting to a point where the pain just disappears forever. But what if that's not the point? What if healing is actually about something totally different? What if it's the ability to just be present with that pain, and in doing so, you rob it of its power to control you? See, when you can just sit with it, when you can acknowledge it's there without letting it take over, you take all its power away. It doesn't get to be the secret author of your life anymore.
Okay, so once you've made that decision to stop running, that's when the real work can start. The work of repair. This is where we get practical. We're moving from just talking about it to actually doing something. This is where you get to actively rewrite that contamination story.
So here's the roadmap. It's pretty straightforward. Step 1, like we said, is to just stop. Step 2 is to identify your contamination story. Like, what are the actual words you say to yourself? Get specific. Because this happened, I'll never be able to do that. You've got to see the story for what it is before you can change it. And that brings us to step 3, rewrite.
Now, rewriting the narrative does not mean you pretend the bad thing never happened. Not at all. It means you acknowledge the pain, you look it in the eye, but you refuse to let it be the only thing that defines you. It's about finding the strength in the fact that you survived it. You get to choose a new meaning for your story. So instead of I'm broken, the new story is I am resilient. Instead of that event ruined my life, it becomes that event was a part of my story, but I'm the one who decides how this story ends. You're shifting your focus from what happened to you to what you can do now.
And honestly, this is the most empowering part of this whole idea. When you make that shift, when you stop repeating and start repairing, you're doing so much more than just healing your past. You are literally taking back your future. This is the perfect antidote to that contamination story. Think about it. The core fear of that story is that something happened that permanently ruined your chance at happiness. This is the truth that you replace it with. Your future is not canceled. It's an open page waiting for you to write on it. So when it all comes down to it, it's about a choice. The past is the past, right? The pain might even still be there, and that's okay. But the story you tell yourself about it and the future you build because of it, that is 100% up to you. You are the author.
So I guess the only question left to ask is, what story will you choose to write?